All right, let's talk about the future of surgery. Because a revolution is happening right now, not with scalpels, but with silicon and steel. We're diving deep into the latest 2025 sector report on surgical robotics to figure out how a market that was dominated by just one company has turned into an all-out technological battle royale. For years, when you said surgical robot, you were really talking about one specific name, one machine. But 2025 is the year that whole idea just shatters. The field has completely opened up. What was once a monopoly is now a crowded arena of innovators and disruptors, all fighting for control of the operating room of the future. So here's our game plan. We'll start by looking at this new age of surgery. Then we'll get into the main event, the industry titan versus the challengers banging on the door. After that, we'll explore a totally different strategy, the specialist's gambit. And finally, we'll put on our investor hats and try to figure out who's got the winning hand. Okay, let's set the stage. This is the new battleground. Demand for less invasive surgery is just exploding. And right at the heart of it all is one company whose size is, well, it's almost hard to wrap your head around. To really get a sense of the scale here, just look at this number, over 3.1 million. That's how many surgeries were done in 2025 using Intuitive Surgical's Da Vinci robot. And that's up 18% from the year before. This isn't just a number, it's proof of just how dominant this market's Goliath really is. So the story of this market, right now, really comes down to four main characters. You've got the Titan, Intuitive Surgical, the undisputed king. Then there's the disruptor, SS Innovations, trying to change the game entirely. You also have the specialist, Procept BioRobotics, who's absolutely crushing it in one specific niche. And finally, the fallen visionary, Vicarious Surgical, a tough reminder of just how hard this business can be. And that brings us to the main conflict. It's the massive, entrenched power of the Titan going up against the incredible speed of its challengers. It's a classic David versus Goliath story, playing out right now in hospitals all over the world. So what's the secret to Intuitive's dominance? It's not just about selling those multi-million-dollar robots. I mean, look at this. Selling the machines themselves is only about a quarter of their revenue. The real power, their incredible competitive advantage, is in the recurring revenue. The instruments, the accessories, that's a massive 60% slice. A staggering 84% of their income just keeps coming in, year after year. It's the ultimate razor and blade business model, and it creates this incredibly sticky ecosystem that locks hospitals in. Now this slide, this just says it all. You see the massive scale of Intuitive, $10 billion in revenue. And then you see SS Innovations, which is just a tiny fraction of that. But then look at the growth column. The Titan is growing at a very respectable 21%. The Challenger? An absolutely explosive 106%. So the question is, how on earth are they doing it?
Well, their strategy is actually pretty brilliant. They're positioning themselves as the Android to Intuitive's iPhone. They're not even trying to compete on features and markets like the US. Instead, they're all about affordability and access. They're opening up robotic surgery to emerging markets like India, which is where a huge 87% of their revenue is coming from. They're democratizing the technology.
But not every challenger is focused on price. Vicarious Surgical had probably the most ambitious goal of them all. Their vision was to, and I quote, put a surgeon inside the patient. Imagine a tiny single-incision robot that moves and sees just like a human. I mean, what a revolutionary idea. The reality, though, has been absolutely brutal. After all the hype, all the development, their revenue for 2025 was, well, zero. Nothing. It's just a harsh lesson that in the world of medtech, a world-changing vision doesn't mean a thing until it's an actual product you can sell, one that can make it through the nightmare of regulatory approvals and mass manufacturing. And today, Vicarious is literally facing the threat of being delisted from the New York Stock Exchange. They only have enough cash to survive until the middle of 2026. It's a real cautionary tale, you know? It shows you just how much money and perfect execution it takes to get one of these incredible devices from a concept on a whiteboard to a real tool in a surgeon's hands. So, if you can't beat the big guy on scale, you can't win on price, and the visionary route is just so incredibly risky, what's left? Well, there's a third way, the specialist's gambit. The idea here is to not even try to fight the Titan head-on. Instead, you become the absolute, undisputed champion of one very specific, very valuable procedure. And Procept BioRobotics has absolutely nailed this strategy with their aquablation therapy. Basically, they use real-time ultrasound to map the area, AI to create a custom surgical plan, and then a robotically controlled high-pressure jet of water with no heat to remove tissue with incredible precision. Think of it like trying to clean a priceless, delicate statue. You wouldn't sandblast it, right? No, you'd use a pressure washer for precision and to avoid collateral damage. That's what they've done for surgery. And man, is it working for them. This chart tells the story. While sales of their main systems are growing at a solid 18%, sales of their disposable single-use handpieces, the blades to their razor, are growing at a blistering 49%. They've basically built their own little high-growth ecosystem in their own specialized corner of the market. It's really impressive. So you've got these totally different strategies in play, right? The Titan, the Disruptor, the Fallen Visionary, and the Specialist. How in the world does an investor make sense of all this? Let's get to the final verdict and map out the risk and reward across this whole sector. I love this matrix from the report because it lays everything out so clearly. Up in the top left, low risk, strong competitive advantage, you've got the Titan. Intuitive surgical, safe, protected, printing money. Over in the top right, high risk but still a strong moat, that's Procept. They're the leader in their niche, but they're burning through cash to grow. And then, down in the bottom right, high-risk, weak moat, you've got the challengers, SS Innovations and Vicarious, who both face some really serious hurdles to survive long-term. So here's the quick and dirty summary. For Intuitive, the bull case is that their ecosystem is unbreakable, the bear case is they face global political and pricing risks. For Procept, the bull case is they become the new gold standard for their procedure, the bear case is they burn through too much cash. For SS Innovations, it's that explosive growth in new markets versus huge regulatory question marks. And for Vicarious, the bull case is basically that someone buys them for their patents before the lights go out. All of this really boils down to one huge question for the entire industry. As this surgical revolution picks up speed, who actually wins? Is it the biggest player with the deepest pockets? The cheapest one that can reach the most people? The super-focused specialist who becomes essential? Or, in the end, is the real victory just staying alive long enough for someone bigger to buy you? The answer to that question is being decided as we speak, in operating rooms all around the world. If you want to go even deeper on the data, you should definitely check out the full 2025 Surgical Robotics Sector Report from HDIN Research. Thanks for tuning in.